The first piece of advice that I'd recommend to almost anyone is before starting your job search, you want to be very strategic about your career. You want to be focused and intentional and not reactionary. Hi, my name is LaMont Price. I'm a senior recruiter with Tenable. In this video, we're going to provide advice for a successful job search, resume tips, Tenable's interview process, and a few insights on how to prepare.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm a senior recruiter here at Tenable. I focus on our go-to-market and our sales hiring. I am super excited to talk to you today about how to increase your chances of getting hired at Tenable.
Identify your career goals. What are the goals that you'd like to achieve over the next 12 to 18 months? By having a short-term career development plan, you will be able to filter in and out the types of companies that are best suited to achieving your goals. The next piece of advice that I'd recommend is understanding your individual and unique value proposition. What is it that differentiates you from other prospects? One tactic that you can use to help you better understand your unique value proposition is to ask colleagues, friends, and family members, what are some of the key attributes that stand out about you?
Really take a deep dive into the job description, look at your resume, and try to match the skills and the qualifications and highlight that on your resume so it stands out. Secondly, do your research. You want to make sure that you've taken a look at the company website. You've looked at the leadership of the company, the size of the company, the culture of the company. And to go one step further, look at the interviewer. Look them up on LinkedIn. Take a look at their background. I always look for people who have great, insightful questions. It's showing me the level of research that the person did do, but the level of thought they've had into the role. Some don'ts in the interview: don't be late. There's nothing worse than showing up late for an interview with whatever excuse it may be, but it's never a great idea. Dress professionally. I always say put your best foot forward. Try to be in an environment, be cognizant of your surroundings. Try to be in a quiet place so that you're not distracted. Get through the interview process, show that you're engaged, have good body language. If it's a live interview, eye contact. I can't tell you the importance of eye contact because it's showing your interest in the role. At the end of the interview, you always want to ask if there's any questions that maybe you weren't able to answer. And always ask the interview process. That is so important to get a good understanding of the timeline. What is the company's sense of urgency in this role? How many interviews are in the interview process? We're here to help guide you through the process, through all your interview stages, and to help ask questions.
The interview process at Tenable will primarily differ based on the type of position. First, there's typically a 30-minute pre-screen call with a recruiter. During that time, the recruiter will provide you with information about the company, the opportunity, and ask questions. Next is typically an interview with the hiring manager. During this time, you'll find out more about the opportunity, tech stack, team culture, and to see if this role is the right position for you. After the hiring manager interview, typically there's a team interview. You'll interview with 2 team members that will assess your technical skills against the actual job. Often during the technical interview, there might be a technical assessment such as whiteboarding or a HackerRank assessment before the technical interview. Depending on the level of the position, there might be a final interview with a director or a VP. This is discretionary and will differ from department to department.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Tenable's culture. Our values with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Talking about culture comes really easy for me. I've been here a while. I've witnessed it firsthand. We call it One Tenable, which means simply we work together and we win together. And this is an idea and a motto that resonates throughout our entire organization. Tenable celebrates all of its employees. This allows us to focus on the equal representation of women and minorities for technical roles, sales roles, and leadership roles throughout our entire organization. Tenable provides training for all of its employees in diversity, equity, and inclusion. This helps employees to understand how their behaviors can impact others. Tenable has worked really hard to interrupt unconscious bias behaviors.
Thank you for watching Meet the Recruiter. Remember to be very strategic, focused, and intentional about your career, and we wish you the best of luck in your career endeavors.
So if you feel that your core values are in line with Tenable's, I would 100% encourage you to apply. I would love to talk to you more and love to talk to you about your future here with Tenable. Thank you.